Hello, Imran. Okay. Good afternoon once more. Welcome to Apexium Technologies webinar session. I am Imran Hassan and I will be moderating today's session. Thank you all for joining this important discussion on cybersecurity for developers, securing coding practices. Okay. Moving to our agenda for the day. From the list, we have at the first welcome and introduction, and that's where we are right now. And second, we have the presentation by the guest speaker, which is our main event for the day. And thirdly, we have an interactive Q&A session, which is a dedicated time for questions and answers. Yeah, and to make it more interactive, possibly if you have a question, you can drop it in the chat box, and you can still keep your question for the Q&A session so we can have it there and get it answered. And fourth on the list, we have the conclusion and the closing remarks, where we'll wrap up and share some valuable resources and some announcements for Apexium Technologies Ltd. So moving on, to officially kickstart the webinar, it's my great pleasure to introduce the CEO of Apexium Technologies Ltd, Mr. Mahmoud Ibrahim Gani. He will be sharing an opening remark. Please give him a warm and virtual welcome to Mr. Mahmoud Ibrahim Gani. Over to you, sir.
Okay, please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, just a moment. So good afternoon, everyone, depending where you are joining us from, afternoon and evening. So you're all welcome to our webinar on cybersecurity for developers, that's secure coding practices. So I am Mahmoud Ibrahim Kani, the CEO of Apexium Technologies. So in today's fast-paced digital world, cybersecurity is not just a technical requirement, so it's more like a responsibility. So every line of code we write has a potential to protect and expose critical systems. So that's why secure coding practices are very essential for developers. I'm sure we have developers here on the call. So we are all happy to have you on the call also. So for developers who want to build resilient and trustworthy applications, so we are privileged to have Mr. Dheer Nimesh Gupta, who is an experienced senior software developer, as our guest speaker today. So he will share his own practical insights and strategies that can help us strengthen our approach when it comes to secure coding, and also which will help us to reduce vulnerability in softwares. So thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us. I encourage you all to engage actively, ask questions, make the most of this session. Together, let's keep this step toward creating safer and more secure digital solutions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim Mahmoud Gani, for those insightful remarks. So moving on, that's our main event for the day. It's my honor to introduce our guest speaker in person of Mr. Dheer Nimesh Gupta, whom is a software developer, a senior software developer, rather. So Mr. Dheer is a senior software developer with extensive experience building scalable, high-performance systems across modern tech stacks. He specializes in designing robust architecture, improving engineering workflow, and delivering solutions that balance technical excellence with business value. Yes. He's passionate about mentoring developers, optimizing system performance, and driving clean, maintainable code at scale Please join me in welcoming Mr. Dheer Nimesh Gupta. The floor is all yours, Mr. Gupta.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mohammed, for this great pleasure of giving me this opportunity to share my insights over the secure coding practices for the developers. So this is the most important need of the hour. So recently there have been various scenarios. We have seen that these things are coming up, and along with we have been due to the AI has been keeping upgrades. So there has been very various different techniques. The hackers are entering into us with the help of AI. So this is now the need of the hour. So let me quickly share up my screen. Let's start. So can you confirm that you are able to see my screen?
Yes, please, we can see your screen, sir.
Yeah. So let's start. So why, firstly, let's first get the things clear that why this is the matter. Because for the developers, because develop people think like the developers have not to be taken care of the security person, but no, the developers are the gatekeepers of the application of the security, because whatever they do before the hackers gets the entry in the application with the code only, not with for network is the second. But once if the code is broken, network cannot wait the application, it will break it. Network can stop or limited, because the application is the thing which is open over the network. So developer it is needed, and it helps you the cost effective prevention. There have been scenarios where the the security have been broken, and it has been taken a lot of amount to just to handle that breakage. So it is very cost effective if we do it previously. Only the design should be, the security should be by design only. It should not be like, yeah, we will do it later on. First, I need to get this done. No, security is not the concern. No, security has to be thought, because if security is not thought at all, they would be gone. Because once it gets scale, there has lot of other things coming up. As per the point, my personal experience as a developer, there have been things for the product owners, for the management, or for the many people, for the customer as well, that security takes the backseat, and their features, their needs comes on the first. So we have to think security first as well. We cannot wait for the things for the security implementation or for the architecture. So what are the myths? So many, there are very mainly so many myths that developers have, especially the juniors, or who are the fresh into the market, or the people seen some of the seniors. I have seen that they have myths about the developers, that how the security. So security is a DevOps job. No, if and it's an application, it is everyone's responsibility. DevOps handles the infrastructure, but application security starts with the code. Second, we will add it at the end. No, adding it at the end is like you did, you grow up a child, and then like how you we will teach him to walk later on. No, it is the first thing you do, teach the child to how to walk. So it is like that. So our API is internal, so it's safe. No, internal APIs or whatever API you have, if it is over the internet, it has to be secured. All the APIs open, it should have the protection. JWT means security. We have seen JWT, JSON Web Tokens, have been a very popular format in the current days or with the modern practices. But it does not mean that it is your app API or your application is secure. It has to be a lot of thinking of has to be done, like whether it has a proper expiry, validations, it is whether it is securely stored or not. Sometimes our how our JSON security is concerned, sometimes it is exposed, our keys exposed, so the security goes bad. No security. Sometimes we take that performance is important, validations is okay. No, validation is needed. Validation, if validation is not there, critical attacks occur, and it takes you to hell. Many of the time data gets opened, the hackers get access to our entire system, lot of that. So what we will cover: authentication and authorization, what should be done right, what are the API security essentials, how you can protect your APIs from modern threats, input validation and data protection, how you can validate your input before it gets into a system so that API validates it before it gets into your system or your database, or while you do any processing on it, how your secure coding patterns goes on, how DevSecOps helps in CI/CD, how it helps in your security, how the real world mistakes and fixes, and what is the best checklist for it. It has to be a checklist, because sometimes we don't know whatever we know is the best thing. No, it has to be a checklist for that. Yeah, this is taken care of, this is not taken care of. That has to be thought. So what is the threat landscape for the developers? So so a lot of things happen. I have tried to minimize it, that this is the main things, but lot of things have a developer has a threat. So API exploitation. Attackers target the poorly secure endpoints, authentication flaws, or late limiting. So there have been, in this API exploitation, there have been scenarios where the attackers are attacking your endpoints continuously, and there are no not rate limiting. It just triggers you. It triggers the application, and the application CPUs goes overload and the whole system crashes. Token theft. Sometimes your token are long lived, like 1 day, 2 day. I have seen tokens which are living for years, and it makes the application vulnerable. If someone gets with your token, they can enter the application and start doing things which you don't know. Injection attacks, very common, very much hit. That's why there is a needed for that validation. Many a times SQL injection happens, command injection happens, script injection happens. Just they put they know how to do it because they have been trained like that. Once they attack your application, they can do anything to it. It compromises your app, the data of the customer, or whether it is internal, your company data. It makes it, and it makes go hell. Misconfigurations, very big. There are default settings which are open. Expose secrets. So the expose secrets very much bad occur, that developers exposes their secrets, like how the JWT is logged, how what is their encryption method, what should we do, their Google their auth credentials. Sometimes database connection strings are open in the network, and this makes the attacker easy to crack. And the broken access control. Many a times APIs, some of the there are implementation for authorize on some of the APIs, but some APIs are open. There are no checks for it, that whether this person has an authorization to do the system. Then it makes it haywire. And supply chain velocity. There are a lot of developers, and in the modern day practice, we depend on a lot of libraries. We need a lot of functionality. So we take help of many libraries, whether they are paid or unpaid, open source, or we develop it ourselves. But the third party libraries introduce the risk into your application stacks. It makes that if their library has an point where it can be broken, your app uses it, you need to secure it, or you need to change that library, because it makes your application vulnerable. Many of times paid libraries also have that security vulnerability, and it is very much needed that you keep up to date with that libraries. The recent example, and the best example, is that the React.js and the Next.js attacks that happened. Many of the high level sites, many of the high level AI coding tools, all gone haywire because that vulnerability was there, and developers did not keep on track. And still till today, after so much attack, so much loss, the developers are not updating their libraries. So yeah, let's go to what is authentication versus authorization. So authentication, who are you? Means verifying the identity of the user, service or application attempting to access your system. Means we are authenticating that yeah, you are allowed, who you are or where are you coming from. And for the authorization, sometimes authentication is not enough. Authorization is needed, that this application, if some user comes in, that he has the he has the authorization to do only some of the part, not to do whole thing. And if some application comes or some service is getting called, they can access to a limited data, or they can do a perform set of things. So this is what the authentication and authorization should be. Many of the times we have seen in the high level enterprise grade applications that only authentication is there, but authorization is not there. Once a user gets access to their system, they can do anything, and that's completely incorrect. And it should have authorization is the authentication is also needed, and authorization is also needed. So what are the industry approaches? It should be like, yeah, that has to be also connected. Like, yeah, we are discussing, but what should be that approach? So majorly OAuth and OpenID are the key approaches the market is the whole industry has been using. It helps the industry have a protocol because they gives us a set of instruction, get a set of uh, knowledges, set of rules and security, that yeah, your application has been authenticated, and it gives you a set framework structured authorization pattern. JWT with short token time limit, it is very much needed. There are JWT tokens in the market which lives up to 3 days, 4 days, months and years, which keeps it open. Like if I get access to your that JW token, I can get access to all of the things you can do, and I can make your application crash. And the hackers are very much prone to it and very much love that type of J application who has a very much bigger TTL. So it is very much needed that yeah, you give your token only 15 to 60 minutes to live, not more than that, because it will minimize the opportunity for the token. Role-based authorization, oh my god, it's so much needed. Many of the application does not have that role-based access. People give the identity use, give the user, done. They can do anything. No, a user should have a set of role that yeah, this role should can do only this set of things, not much more than that. We have seen applications with that no role based. A normal user, a normal person can delete the admin users. Oh my god, it is haywire and application starts crashing up down. So there has been a lot of debate on JWT, that whether it is good or bad. Yeah, it's good, but it has its advantage and it has a disadvantage which the developers bring in only, and they bring in the risk. So yeah, what are the advantage? No server-side session lookup required. If your JWT consists of everything, how much it has to leave, what time it was generated, what time it will end, what role you have, what user it has, all the things the JWT has it. But it is scalable. It helps you go with the microservices, which is very much needed. How it is risky? Disadvantage what developer brings in. So long-lived token, like we discussed, no built-in revocation. Sometimes we get to know that yeah, my JWT token uh, has been compromised, but there is no way to revoke it. They will stay valid until they expire. It is so much needed that many of the application has that yeah, long short time, 60 minutes. But what about 60 minutes? During that, you get to know that yeah, my token is alive, but it has been compromised. There is no revocation method. Sensitive data exposure. Sometimes developer pass on the passwords, the all the key details of this of the user into the data JWT, and which is not at all okay. Anyone can copy that JWT token and can deserialize it. But your application should know how to behave on that token and how to do it. So what are the golden rules for the JWT implementation? First, keep access token short, not more than 60 minutes. It has to be under it. The refresh token should securely stored with an encrypted way, the secure cookies in encrypted way. And your application should do HTTPS only, not no un-HTTP request. Never include personal identifier or a sensitive data like passwords, emails, stuff, all into that. Only your data, only the ID which your application understands that, yeah, this is my user, nothing much more than that. And always validate the signature and the token expiry on every request. Many of times application has JWT. Many of times the first 3 points have been implemented, but the fourth point, the needed, that token expiry has not been checked. That they can come and go anytime they want. No one checks that this token has been expired and they continue to use it. No, the token expiry has to be needed and the signature should be valid. So API security essentials. So in the modern world, we have been doing the application like what are the API security essentials? It is very much needed because most of the things are on the APIs nowadays. The modern web tech believes the APIs, web app, mobile app, desktop apps even are now needed, are using APIs to reduce the risk on the person's system and the dependency on that system. If that system crashes, the data is available on the cloud. So yeah, it always has to be HTTP S, and there has to be a traffic rate limiting. Rate limiting, why it is needed? Many of times hackers just start pinging your application's API and it makes the API server's usage go up. The rate limiting is not there. The hackers get a very good exposure to exposure to your application. It makes your CPU go high, your application starts crashing, or someone just attacks your application. You give a rate limit per IP rate limit to that app that yeah only 1500 or 10 uh, calls are allowed within a second, within a minute for to reduce, to avoid that. Circuit breakers are much more needed. The circuit breakers, if circuit breaker pattern is not there, application with the enterprise level application like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they have so many people going on it. The circuit breakers are needed because if the application is breaking down, it has to be getting up instantly. API gateway security, like we discussed the whole beyond authentication, authorization, request validation, and the threat detection at the gateway layer only. Before any request, anything comes into your app, it has to be gone through the API gateway. Versioning and deprecation. Everything should be versioned. Many of times requirement changes, things changes. The developers open a new API endpoint, they gives a new, but that has to be deprecated. You have to be clear that yeah, after this time, after a certain period of time, that has to be deprecated. We will not entertain that request after a point. That has to be there, and that is so much needed because there have been cases with the with enterprise application that deprecation timeline was not defined and the hackers were able to enter the system with the old APIs or the old endpoints which were open, and it gives you the thing strict course. Oh my god, yeah, many of the times the applications allow the request from anywhere, means I can call it from any machine, but if it is my application, it should allow only a certain endpoint, certain reference resources to call my application. Not everyone can call my APIs. It has to be limited that yeah, only few endpoints can call my APIs. No one else can call. That has to be there. Input validation and sanitization. This is also needed. Many of times the request just comes in, the app takes it, app starts processing it, whether it is correct, incorrect. The app does not check anything. This is the cause for the SQL injection attacks, command injection or script injection in the application. The hackers are very much happy with such APIs who does not have that validation and sanitization. So what should we do? Verify the data type, format, length, and range. Your nothing should hit your application or your database before it is validated. Before validation, it should not have been done. Many of times hackers just put a random value. They don't know how your application works, how your application is going to behave. They just work on the assumptions, and if your validation is there, the hackers cannot enter your application. Sanitize. Yeah, this is the place where there's you can stop the SQL injection, the command injection, the script injection. Every request, if it is a string, it is a variable. If anything that is in the format of string, many of times strings comes in from the network, no sanitization occurs, and it just goes into a database. It goes into your application, it's stored somewhere, and the hackers love it. They do SQL injection, they drop tables, they fetch the data, they run scripts, they get access to your application without doing something. They just sit and enjoy it. They get to access to your sensitive data. Encoding. Many of time you just send things over the network which are shown to that, but they are not encodedly properly encoded. Means the sensitive information, if it is going pass on through the server, it has to be encoded. What is the rule? Never trust client data. Means if your app, it's like you never trust someone with your ATM pins, your bank account, or your personal details, right? Whether it's your friend or family, you never trust with their money, right? It's the same goes with your APIs. You never trust anyone, whether it's your internal app, whether it's for public. You validate each and every side. You just not put the client side validation, you put the backend validation as well. Many of times we have seen enterprise application only having client side validations where the users can see the validation, but not a backend validation, which makes it haywire. If someone gets access to your APIs, they start triggering it. So what are the common attack vector to blocks? So like we discussed, SQL injection, script injection, path traverse, and deserialization attacks. All of these things can be avoided just by sanitizing and then validating. All of the things can be handled with the 3 steps above. Validate, sanitize, and encode. This has to be taken care of. What is the best practice for the server side validation? If you are going with Node.js, you have Joy library. If you are Python, you have Pandatic. If you are .NET, you have Fluent validations. All this have a built-in protection against the common attack patterns. They help you reduce your time for this stuff and focus on what is needed for that hour. Secure data handling essentials. This is the security need. It has to be done. Protect your databases and backups with robust encryption algorithms to safeguard stored data from unauthorized access. Many of times, what people do, they have their authentication in it. They just simply go, whatever user enters data, xyz@email.com, password 123, and just save it 123 on the server database. No, it has not. It has to be encrypted. 1234 should not be never stored. ABC@xyz@ email should never be stored. It has to be encrypted so that no one can know whose data is it and what password it is. It has to be stored. Like avoid logging sensitive data. Many of times people put logs for sensitive data. Like, yeah, this request came in, this user, this password, this email, this phone number. No, it should have been no logging should be done on sensitive. there should have been scrubbing and security vaults. Many of times you hard code the security things like your database connections, your passwords, your JWT keys, encryption methods, all has to be managed in the key vault. I strongly suggest you go with the key vaults like Azure, AWS, HashiCorp, Console, any of that. But you use a leverage secret key vaults and you rotate it frequently. You keep on updating it, not keeping static for years. You don't know when your app when your has been compromised. So these are the basic secure coding patterns everyone should follow. I strongly suggest it has to be followed. Dependency injection, solid principles. Many of the times, junior developers are not taking care of this solid principles. It has to be solid principle. Your app should have an architecture before you give it to any of if you expose it to a network, because not having that makes it close. Implement for failed close logic. So error default to denying access rather than granting it. Many of times there are logics to check, but if it fails, do that. Whatever the user is asking, there have been APIs like that, but no, you have to deny it, retries and timeout. Handle transit here. Many of time your application, your database has been in overload. You have a lot of users going on. You don't have retries and your application starts showing error and your CPU goes high. You start logging. No, there should have been a transient failure. You should handle that failures gracefully, and you should have a retry. Yeah, you know that this might maybe the place where you get to know. And this is not the process you do it from day one. It is a gradual process. It's a learning curve. How your application behaves, your customer base growth. You have lot of how people are coming into it. That has to be taken care of. Structured login. Many of times we have seen apps that all of the dependency injection is done. Solid principle is there. Fail close logic is implemented. Retries and timers are there, but no logging is there. Without login, how can you know that what is going on? Without that, how you will know that what is going on and how it is going on? Without it, you are just doing stuff. You don't know whether the attacker came in or not, whether it is you are there or not, uh, like that. And what should you do avoid? Hard coding syncron, like we discussed. Always use a security key vault or stuff like that. Stack traces to clients, which expose internal architecture and aid trackers. Your application should only give the API status code and the error, not your whole code from where the error occurred. It should never return the stack trace. Using outdated libraries, like we discussed, you should always keep up to date with the libraries which you are using, because there might have been security patches done. They might know newer library, newer one known vulnerability, they might have fixed it. So you have to keep in updated. Mixing auth logic inside controller and centralized authentication authorization. You should never have an auth logic inside the controller. It should be centralized. It should, before hitting your controller as well, in the middleware, in the gateway itself, your authentication should be done. It should not come to your controller as well. Many of times the request comes in, then authentication, you write code multiple times, same code, and somewhere you miss, don't miss, somewhere there is a different logic. No, it should not be the case. It should always be a common logic. It should be centralized. The real world risky mistake that leads to breaches. Like we discussed the whole point. This is the where the risky mistakes and what happens the costly. API with open endpoints. Yeah, like there is no authorized access. You just go, anyone can do with your data and manipulate it. Admin routes without authorization. Many of times there are admin only stuff that only some administrators can be do, but they don't have a proper role check, and which leads to attacks, which leads to data changes. refresh tokens in local storage. Storing tokens in local storage, express them to attacks. Use HTTP only cookies. Your refresh token should never be stored in local storage. It has to be in HTTP cookies so that the no one can, no attacker can get it. Overly broad course. Many of times we see that course is there, but only a star means anyone can do anything. That completely disowns the need of the course. It makes it go wild. Weak password hashing. Using MD5 for SH without salting makes password database vulnerable to rapid cracking. Many of times you have SH1, MD5, all of the things, but you don't have an salting method. You don't have a security key which does your password hashing. Without it, it does fail. Now, the next thing, how DevSecOps in CI/CD pipelines needs this the coding practices. So there has to be static code analysis before anything goes on the server. This before your application gets deployed on the web, there should be a scanning of your source code for security vulnerability, code quality issues, and compilation violation before compilation. Many of times applications, enterprise applications have lakhs of errors and they are running on the internet with that much error, and it gives the attackers a chance to enter the application. Dependency scanning, identifying the known vulnerabilities in third-party libraries and frameworks using tools like Sync and all. Many of times we are using third-party libraries. Yeah, we are assuming that they are not vulnerable or we don't know their vulnerability. But having the tools like Sync or OWS dependency check help you to know that yeah, this library has that issues and you need to update it, whether they have updated or you need to replace them. If you are a daily GitHub Pro or you are using a GitHub into your day-to-day life, you would be receiving GitHub Dependabot emails, and which is the same thing what I'm talking about. You will get to know how the dependency is scanning and how the vulnerability has been there. Container vulnerability scanning. Analyze Docker image for OS level vulnerabilities and misconfigurations using. Sometimes you are deploying through Docker. Your images are there. Your Docker images just takes OS, whatever OS it has, and that has an OS vulnerability or misconfiguration. It has your scanning has to be there. Secret detection. Your secrets has you need to have a day-to-day check or a check that your secrets has not been opened. Like scanning tools like Git Guardian or Git Leaks helps you with it. Automated dependency upgrades. You depend about renovate or automatic create pull request for outdated and vulnerable. Many of times you don't have the time. The developer teams have the lot of stuff going on. They don't have the time to check the dependencies or update it, or they might not have the priority for that. So you need to have an automated dependency upgrades into your application. So Dependabot helps you with it and opens a PR. So you just review it and check it and you're done. Deployment gating on security score. Yeah, many of times the static code analysis is there, dependency scanning is there, secret detection is there, vulnerability scan, all of the things passes. But all of the if the static there all of the things are there, but if your code is failing the static code analysis and despite it is passing through the gateway and it is deploying it, then there is no sense of that dependency scanning, stored static code analysis. It all makes it zero because it has to be there. Sorry, guys. It has to be there to block that before deploying the application. This has to be fixed. It will never be deployed before it. Logging and observability for security. Many of time logging is there, but not the correct way where it has to be logged. So what has to be logged and how you can observe it? So you can log your authentication failures. Many of times attackers know that your application is authorized. You cannot have an unopened access, but they try to break your login APIs, your register APIs by hitting it, by brute forcing it. But you can log that and then you can know that yeah, I am getting attacked and I can how you can block it. Log unusual access patterns. Money like reported 403. Like someone has that signed in, but they're trying to. Someone has a different role, but they are trying to access the administrator role APIs. So you get to know that yeah, what is happening. Distributed tracing tools like Jaeger, Zipkin help you request across microservices and identify security bottlenecks. You have been done with the log authentication failure. You have unusual, but you don't. There are a lot of microservices, and it has to be connected. Whether without connection, you don't know how you can use the correlation IDs multiple times. What happens? Your API user, your request comes into a gateway, and it goes through multiple microservices. But an error came from the n number of microservices, but you or something broke there. You don't know how, what broke, where that request comes on. So this correlation IDs comes in the place. It helps you trace it between multiple microservices logs, dashboards. Many of times this all the things are there, but you don't have a dashboard. Many of time developers is yeah, go to the DevOps teams and get me the logs file from the server. No, that is completely wrong. You that that might take a time. The logs might be big. You don't get a visualization. You just go with your mind. You use a notepad or use some file editor tool to see that logs file. You will not never get a hang of it. You need a visual metrics board like Grafana, Azure Monitor, Datadog to spot the incidents quickly. Many of the enterprise applications have a specific team to just to have a look for the security metrics only, to let the developers know that this security is going on. So what should be, we discussed a lot of things over the time. What should be done, DevOps, all the stuff what developer needs to take care of. But that this is the architecture which the developer should have, and it will help them through the next through their whole life. Client applications or user making request, API gateway, where the main thing happens. Rate limiting, routing, and initial validation occurs in the API gateway only. Authentication service, token validation, and identification. Once your client sends a response to a gateway checks for rate limiting, routing, and initial validation. But once it also passes, then it comes to your auth service to verify that you are a whether or verified user or not. If not, then it goes back to the client. Yeah, no, you are not allowed. Or you move it to the next like service. And there where the role, policy, and whatever implement your application needs, you do it. And this is the things always centralized secrets. Key vault for central credential and configuration. Short-lived tokens, the key distributed cache. Never always you should have a cache server. If you have a cache server, it should be distributed, not like it has on the same place with the server. No. And zero trust mindset. Never trust, always verify every request. Like we discussed in the beginning. You never trust anyone, no client, nothing. You never trust another guy. You never trust the person sitting next to you for sending that API request. You never trust anyone. So this is the checklist. This is the checklist which I personally follow. The what I personally follow, how this checklist, if any new application comes in or any new feature or an existing application comes to me and I work on it, I always make sure this checklist has been taken care of. Authentication, authorization, input validation, how the data is getting handled is also necessary. How that if I am introducing any new secrets, how that secrets are getting stored, how it is getting managed, logging and monitoring, dependency scanning. I always keep a check for the libraries or vulnerabilities that yeah, this has been deprecated and I need to keep on check on them. Always have a rate limiting. I always and API hardening. Any of the developers, please take a screenshot of it to keep it for your future purpose. That this is the thing. I always need a check. and I will always follow. So it makes you a better developer, a secure developer, and a different mindset of developer before you begin. I'm waiting 1 minute for everyone to take a screenshot. So I hope so everyone has taken the screenshot. Moving on. So finally, the key takeaway: security is just the responsibility for dedicated security teams. Developer are also the uh, key. Build secure code for code from the start later. Small mistakes leads to huge breaches. A single issue can make a huge breach. It should be there. Automate security in the CI/CD, like we discussed, always should be there. If you have a CI/CD structure, you always should have the automate security. Modern protocols always follow OAuth, OpenID, and JWT properly. You implementing them does not mean you're secure. Implementing it properly with the modern protocols is the thing that you do. And the main thing, zero trust mindset. Always have a zero trust mindset. Before it is never there. So this is the essential security resources you can have. You can you can use OSIP top 10 security. You can help. You can regularly visit it and get to know what are the recent security resource breakages are going on with the real mitigations and real world examples. There are National Institute of Standard and Technologies which help you have their own security guidelines. If you follow them or if your app follows them, you are very much least prone for attacks. Microsoft has its own secure coding docs for their .NET and all the stuff, and JWT best practices. You can always have that, and DevSecOps playbooks. If you are a DevOps guy or if you are DevOps team, you have a DevOps team, always have them to have a look into it so they can have a look and they can have a security for your app and make it your application least prone to the attacks. So I think I'm done with. I hope I have covered a lot of things. I've got your least insight. If you have any questions, I'm open for it. Let your questions open it.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gupta. That was a very insightful presentation. I think you've given everyone a concrete step they can use to harden their code, which they integrate in security for their development lifecycle. Thank you very much. So next we are heading to our Q&A session, and so if anyone has a question, you can ask. I think I should go first, sir. I just wanted you to go back to the best practices checklist you presented. So I think we can, maybe for those that haven't screenshotted it, maybe they can have a moment to screenshot it. And meanwhile, I think we can screenshot this, and if we have a question, we can raise our hand. There is a raise a hand gesture there we can use, so we can ask questions. Okay, I see Mr. Mahmoud Kani has a question. Yeah, you are raising your hand, sir. The floor is yours.
Hey, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Deer. This was really insightful. Actually, I was taking note. And my question is that looking at how um, the coding world has evolved when it comes about the future of coding now that we have AI tools. So, what do you see, or how do you see the future of coding evolving? And will vibe coding become safer? I believe for those of you that are not maybe technical, maybe will not understand what vibe coding is, you can help explain that as a speaker. Will vibe coding be safer, or will secure coding dominate? So, what are your thoughts on that, Mr. Deer? Thank you.
Oh yeah. So very good question, Mohammed. So yeah, vibe coding is the next thing. There have been AI would be doing a lot of basic boilerplate stuff, not the security. Many of times vibe coding tools, AI tools, or AI apps which you are paying heavily for, forget about the security thing. This is where the developers comes in. If you're vibe coding anything, you need to make sure you need to go through the code. The developers need to go through that code or whatever AI code, that this is following that checklist which I shared, that this it is whether it is going through that checklist or not before putting it the application into the layer. It has to be there, and AI tools will definitely be taking a place. And if you are very much known to how you can do prompt engineering or how you can prompt the apps, they can implement that security guidelines, basic security guidelines into your app as well. But a developer's eyes should always check for that before it making it the next thing. I think I have answered your question, Moment, or anything else you are looking for.
Yes, exactly. You have answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. Do anyone has a question? Okay, I think we'll move forward to our next agenda, which is our own giveaway session. How this works is we'll ask a question based on the presentation, and for anyone who answers, we'll have something for that person. And for today's session, I have only one question for that. So the question is he listed some best practices, the checklist he gave for us to screenshot. So if anyone can like list 3 to 5 out of what are on that checklist, that is our giveaway question. So the floor is for anyone. If you know, you just raise your hand and you speak. Okay, I have Kulsum Suleiman raising her hand. Um, you can go on.
Hey, hello, my name is Kulsum Suleiman, and the three best practices that I can remember is authentication, authorization, and input validation.
Okay, that's a very good one. Thank you very much for that, Kulsum. Do anyone want to list two? Maybe add three more or two more, anyhow. Okay, I see Ibrahim Azam. You can speak, the floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, there's secret management, logging and monitoring, dependency scanning.
Okay, that's also correct. Thank you very much for that. And I think that will be the end of our giveaway session. Um, Kulsum Suleiman and Ibrahim Azam, you can drop your contacts on maybe the chat box. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And moving forward, yes. So we are moving forward to a program we are having, yeah, in Apexium Technologies, which is the refer and earn. This is also like a giveaway to me. How it works is you refer a friend or a business or a partner to Apexium Technologies, and whenever they engage in our services, you will receive a 5% commission out of it. I think that's a good one. Yeah. So moving to the next one, um, okay. Moving to this one is like a digital skill today you learn to apply and grow with at Apexium Technologies. These are our list of courses that we have, uh, which we are starting in the, I think, early next year. Yeah. So, but the registration and everything is open for now. And these are the courses that we are having. We have digital marketing, we have artificial intelligence, we have cybersecurity and ethical hacking, we have digital literacy, we have scratch programming, and we also offer internship opportunities. I was one of the interns at Apexium Technologies, and I learned a lot with Apexium Technology. We also have online safety and cyber awareness. So we'll be looking forward to meeting new people in this. And for the next one, okay, this is our services. The services uh, we give in Apexium Technologies. We do AI solution, website development, security audits and compliance, identity and access management design. We also prepare you to certifications, likes of Security Plus, CEH, ISC2, and others. We also do IoT solutions. We do network design and installations, UI, UX audits and redesign. We do social media management, IT support and consultations, cloud solutions. We also do vulnerability assessments, penetration testing, and many more. And the benefits you get are the free consultations that we give. Yeah, improved online visibility, increased digital security, certifications. Yeah, for all the courses we do and internships. And we also offer service fee, which are very affordable. We have our newsletters and internship opportunities. The newsletters are posted regularly on our social media handles. Yes. And moving to the next. Okay. This successful event will not be possible actually without this dedicated leadership at Apexion Technologies Limited. So we have our CEO in person of Mahmoud Ibrahim Ghani. We have our COO in person of Yunusa Abubakar. We have Mr. Zakaria Musa, who is our CTO, and we also have our DCS, who is Miss Kate Jim. And moving on to the next. Okay, thank you everyone for attending this. I think I'll move forward to invite the CEO to give us a closing remark. But before then, you can visit us on our website, which is on the screen, www.apexiumtechnologies.com. This is also our contact on it, and this is our email. You can also scan the barcode on the screen, which will take you directly to a link tree where you can get access to follow all our social media handles. And I'll invite the CEO to give us a closing remark. So, Mr. Mahmoud Ibrahim Ghani, the floor is yours.
Okay, Mr. Imran, thank you very much for that moderation. And also, thank you everyone for joining us today, for also being part of this important conversation on cybersecurity for developers. So I hope this insight that has been shared, and with the practice tools and the renewed perspective and how critical secure coding is in building resilient application. So at Apexium Technologies, we believe that innovation and security go hand in hand. So by applying these practices, and will not only protect our systems, but also strengthen the trust and with every users who relies on our solutions. So a special thank you to our guest speaker, that's Mr. Dheer Nimesh Gupta, for sharing his expertise to everyone who contributed with questions and engagement. So let's all continue to prioritize security in everything we build. If you have further questions or would like to explore more resources, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you once again and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, guys. And any of us have anything, do reach out to me over LinkedIn, over the emails. I will definitely be able to help. Thank you, guys.
Sure, sure. Please drop your LinkedIn on the chat box for our audience that would like to connect with you. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mr. Deer. We really appreciate. And for anyone of our audience that has any question, you can definitely reach out to us. So we'll end the meeting here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.